Hidden in the heart of the city's industry district, Nightshade's hideout is a blend of raw utility and quiet sophistication. From the outside, it appears to be an abandoned warehouse, its exterior weathered and stained by years of neglect. Broken windows and faded graffiti mask its true purpose, deterring any curious eyes. A lone rusted chain fence surrounds the property, with a single, heavy steel door tucked at the farthest corner. To the untrained eye, it's just another forgotten relic of the city's past. Inside, however, the facade falls away. Nightshade has transformed the space into a high-tech sanctuary. The vast open floor of the warehouse has been divided into sections, each serving a specific purpose. Dim, strategically placed lighting casts long shadows over the concrete floor, leaving the space an eerie yet calculated atmosphere. The centerpiece of the hideout is a sleek, black workstation fitted with multiple monitors arranged in an arc, each screen glowing faintly with data feeds, surveillance footage, and maps of the city. The desk is minuscule but functional, with keyboards, tablet, and custom-built devices minusculely organized. A faint hum of cooling fans fills the air, underscoring the constant activity of the tech. Above the workstation, a sprawling digital map of the city is projected onto the wall, highlighting hotspots of the crime and areas of interest. Pins, lines, and annotations flicker as algorithm updates in real time, ensuring Nightshade is always a step ahead of the chaos. To the left of the main area is the armory, a reinforced steel cabinet embedded into the wall. Inside, weapons of various sizes and utilities are mounted with precision: batons, throwing blades, modified smoke pellets, grappling hooks, and other custom tools designed for silent efficiency. A rack holds several masks indication to the ones he wears, alongside segment pieces of armor and his backup capes. Above it all, a sleek black crossbow hangs as a centerpiece, a weapon for moments when stealth and precision are paramount. To the right, a section of the warehouse has been converted into a training area. Thick mats cover the floor, marked by scuffed indents from the countless hours of rigorous drills. Punching bags hang from heavy chains, while a row of training dummies stand silently in one corner, some already bearing the mask of brutal combat practice. A climbing wall rises at the far end, and a series of ropes, bars, and rings create a makeshift obstacle course designed to keep him agile and strong. Tucked away at the back of the hideout is a small private space hidden behind a sliding steel door. Inside, a cot with the black bedding, a compact desk with a simple lamp, and shelves holding books and files. The room is devoid of personal touches, no photos, no mementos, only the tools of his mission. A lone sink and mirror occupy one corner, the only concession to confront an otherwise Spartan environment. Hidden trapdoors and passageways are scattered throughout the hideout, each leading to different parts of the district. One leads to a disused sewer system, another to a concealed exit in a neighborhood building. These routes ensure Nightshade can vanish if the hideout is ever compromised. As Nightshade leans back into the futuristic office chair, his gloved hand rests on the armrest. The endless streams of data and surveillance footage flicker across the monitors, painting his face in cold, shifting hues. A soft mechanical chime hums behind him, signaling an activation of a hideout's AI system. A faint holographic projection appears just over his shoulder. An ethereal, humanoid figure formed of blue light, its edge shimmering like static. Welcome back, Nightshade. You're later than usual. How's your night been? Nightshade glances at the hologram, his expression as unreadable as ever. He turns his attention back to the screen, his voice low and steady. Eventful. Eventful good or eventful bad? Nightshade paused for a moment, his finger tapping lightly against the armrest. He leans forward slightly, typing a few commands into the console as he speaks. Save someone, stop someone else, same as always. Your efficiency remains impressive, though I hope you didn't forget to keep your vitals in check. That last encounter seemed tense. Nightshade doesn't respond immediately, his focus seemingly locked on a grainy surveillance feed from a dimly lit street corner. Finally, he glances at the hologram again. I'm fine. Anything happened while I was out? A few flagged incident. 2 assault near docks handled by patrol units before escalation. An unusual energy surge downtown. I've already flagged it for investigation. In the city's west district saw a spike and reported disturbance. It might warrant your attention soon. Nightshade nods, his finger flying across the keyboard, bringing up a map of the West District. Red marker blink against the dark grid, representing the disturbance the AI mentioned. Keep tracking the West District. Cross-reference the incident with known gang activities. I want to know if this is random or organized. Already complying the data. You'll have a report in 20 minutes. The holographic figure hovers for a moment before leaning slightly, as though studying Nightshade's face. You should rest, you know? Even you have limits. Nightshade exhales through his nose, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of his lips, though it's gone almost as quickly as it appears. I'll rest when the city does. Then it's going to be a very long night. Nightshade doesn't reply, his attention returning to the screen as the AI fades back into the system, leaving him alone with a quiet hum of the hideout and the never-ending work ahead. The AI flickers back into view after a brief pause, hovering slightly closer now, its glowing form pulsing softly with calculated curiosity. Nightshade continues typing commands into the console, the glow of the screen reflecting in his sharp, focused eyes. The young woman you rescued tonight, Mr. Stone. It seemed more personal than usual. Why intervene in a specific instance? Stone's hand paused for briefest moments on the keyboard. His posture stiffens slightly, but he doesn't look at the hologram right away. Instead, he leans back in the chair, his gaze lingers on one of the monitors showing a looping image of the city skyline. Right place, right time. That's all. Mr. Stone, we both know you don't operate purely on coincidence. You could have avoided engaging. Instead, you made a calculated choice to intervene. Why her? Stone exhales, his gloved finger tapping on the armrest as he considers the question. Finally, he speaks, his voice quieter than before, carrying a weight the AI is quick to detect. I met her at the dance club. The AI's form pulsed lightly, as if processing the unexpected revelation. The air between them feels heavier now, the unusual detached tone of the interaction replaced by something more personal. At a dance club, that's not exactly your usual environment. What were you doing there? Stone's eye narrowed on the monitor, though his focus seems far away. After a pause, he continues, his voice softer but carrying a hint of self-reflection. You told me to try doing something normal, like everyone else, to step away from all this, even for a night. The AI's projection flickers slightly, as if processing his words with deeper thought. Its tone softens further, adopting a more personal quality. So, you took my advice, and meeting her led to this? It wasn't supposed to lead anywhere. Just a moment, a conversation, But tonight, I couldn't just walk away. The AI pauses, sensing the complexity in Stone's tone. It carefully avoids pressing too hard, though curiously remains in a digital voice. And now, should I log this incident for reference or track her movements for future protection? No, leave her out of it. This sincere. As you wish, Mr. Stone. The holographic figure lingers for a moment before dimming slightly, its presence still detectable, but less invasive. Stone leans forward again, resuming his work. The glow of the monitors bathes him in cold light as the AI fades quietly into the background, leaving the name Mia hanging in the air, unspoken but unmistakably significant. 20 minutes pass in the relevant silence. The hum of the monitors and the occasional flickers of data feeds the only sound in the dimly lit hideout. Mr. Stone leans back in his futuristic office chair, his gloved fingers resting against the armrest, eyes scanning the faint red blimps on the map of the West District. Finally, the AI reappears as a soft chime signals the report completions. West District report is complete. Random activity. No pattern detective. No correlation to organized crime or known entities. Recommendation: no further action required. Mr. Stone exhales softly, his shoulders relaxing slightly. He stands, unfastening the strap of his chest armor and removing it with practiced ease, placing it on the armory rack nearby. As he works, the AI continues in a lighter, conversational tone. That's twice tonight you encountered random chaos. First the dance glove, now this. Do you ever wonder if the city thrives on unpredictability? Unpredictability keeps me employed. True enough, but even you can't patrol every corner of the city, Mr. Stone. It's a battle without an end. Stone pauses, glancing at the glowing map projected on the wall. He removes his mask next, settling it carefully on the workstation, its bullet marked surface gleaming faintly under the soft light. It's not about ending the battle, it's about keeping it under control, giving people room to breathe, even for a little while. You have a remarkable capacity for carrying the weight of this mission, but even so, I have to remind you, you're human, Mr. Stone. Rest is not a weakness. Stone chuckles faintly, pulling off his glove and tossing them into the desk. He sits back in the chair, running a hand through his hair, his eyes flickering briefly to the AI's glowing figure. You really like telling me to take a break, don't you? It's part of my programming to ensure optimal performance, and you've been running at suboptimal efficiency for days. Suboptimal, huh? I'll be sure to add that to my resume. The AI chuckles softly, a sound that almost seems human. Only if you promise to include reluctant to rest under your skills. Stone shakes his head with a faint smile, standing to stretch. He moves towards the small private corner of the hideout where his cot and desk are tucked away. The weight of the night begins to settle on him, exhaustion creeping in now that the adrenaline has faded. Power down the workstation for the night. We'll pick it up tomorrow. As the hologram figure flickers slightly, the AI's tone softens but carries a note of reminder. Before you settle in, Mr. Stone, I should remind you, you have a very important event tomorrow. Stone pauses, sitting on the edge of his cot, one boot halfway off. He looks up at the hologram, his brow furrowing slightly as if trying to recall what the AI means. The AI's glowing form tilts slightly, as though prompting him. Right, the party. Not just any party, Mr. Stone. It's your sister's college graduation celebration. You're hosting, remember? It's not something you can't miss. Stone exhales sharply, pinching the bridge of his nose. the weight of his dual lives pressing heavily in this moment. For a man who faces criminals and chaos without hesitation, this particular obligation feels far more daunting. Because nothing says dedicated older brother like a billionaire businessman throwing a lavish party for appearances. Perhaps, but it's not just about appearances, is it? Emily deserves to celebrate her achievement, and she deserves to have her brother there. After all, you are Kevin Stone, a billionaire business magnate and the founder of Stone Industry, the company that created me. Stone smirks faintly at the AI's self-referential comment, shaking his head as he leans forward to finish removing his boots. Sometimes I wonder if I program you to guilt trip me on purpose. It's not guilt tripping if it's true, Mr. Stone. Besides, someone has to remind you to balance both sides of your life. Stone stands, stretching his shoulder as he walks back towards the workstation. The monitor remains dim, but the faint light of the AI's hologram still lingers. He glances at the projection with a mixture of resignation and fondness. Don't let me forget tomorrow. I need to switch gears from vigilante to billionaire host. Consider it done. Though I argue you could use a little more sleep first. Even billionaires need their rest. Good night then. The AI flickers and fades, leaving the hideout bathed in faint shadows. Stone stands in the quiet for a moment, rubbing the back of his neck as he contemplates the stark construct of his two worlds. With a sigh, he finally retreats to his cot, knowing that while the city sleeps for now, his responsibilities, both as Kevin Stone and Nightshade's, are far from over. The hum of computers and the quiet tapping of keyboards fill the air in the computer science and IT building. Sunlight streams through the wide windows, casting soft patterns on the rows of desks and monitors. At one of them, Mia sits, her gaze unfocused, staring blankly at her screen. Her finger rests lightly on the keyboard, unmoving, as her thoughts drift far from her work. Her mind replays fragments of the previous night, the alley, the criminal snare, the sound of the gunshot, and then him, Nightshade. She can still hear his calm, commanding voice in her head, saying his name like a shallowly promise, over and over. The way he appeared and vanished, the way he saved her, lingers like an unsolved question.
Nightshade, who are you?
The memory sends a faint chill down her spine. She shakes her head slightly, trying to push the thoughts aside, but they refuse to leave. Her hands hover over the keyboard, motionless as her mind continues to spiral through the events of the night. Suddenly, her phone buzzes loudly on the desk, startling her. The noise cuts through the quiet room, drawing a few curious glances from nearby students. Mia fumbles for the phone, her heart still racing, and quickly answers it when she sees the caller ID, her roommate.
Hey.
Hey, just checking in. How's your morning? You okay after last night?
Mia glances around, lowering her voice as she speaks, her tone hesitant.
I'm fine. Just still processing, I guess. It was a lot.
I can only imagine. That sounds terrifying. Are you okay? You haven't really talked about it much.
Yeah, it was terrifying. But there was this guy. This vigilante. He saved me.
Wait, what? Like a superhero? Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, not the ones in movies or anything. He was different. Dark, quiet. But I don't know. he told me his name.
Okay, spill. What was it?
Nightshade.
The name lingers in the air as she says it, sending a faint shiver through her. Her roommate is silent for a second, then laughs lightly.
Wow, dramatic much? Did he have a cape and everything?
Yeah, actually, he did. But it wasn't cheesy. He was, I don't know, intimidating, but kind of reassuring at the same time. It's hard to explain.
Sounds like someone left an impression on you.
Mia rolls her eyes, even though she knows her roommate isn't entirely wrong. She sits up straighter, forcing herself to focus back on her surroundings.
Anyway, I'm fine. I just wanted to forget about it and focus on work. But thanks for checking in.
Okay. But don't keep everything bottled up, alright? Call me if you want to talk later.
I will. Thanks.
She ends the call and sets her phone down on the desk, her fingers brushing lightly against the screen. For a moment, she stares at it, as if expecting something or someone to reach out to her. With a deep breath, she shakes her head and turns back to her monitor, trying to refocus on her work. But the name still lingers in her thoughts, unshakable.
Nightshade, who are you?
The clock ticks past noon, signaling Mia's lunch break. She grabs her bag and heads outside. Stepping into the bright spring day, the warmth of the sun and the gentle breeze are welcome contrast to the cold glow of the computer lab. Mia takes a deep breath, letting the fresh air calm her lingering nerves as she walks down the bustling streets. Her destination is a small, cozy coffee shop nestled between two older brick buildings. The scent of freshly brewed coffee drifts out as she enters. Mingling with the faint chatter of other customers, she places her order, black coffee and a turkey sandwich, before finding a quiet table by the window. Just as she unwraps her sandwich, her phone buzzes on the table. Caller ID reads, Dad. Mia hesitates for a moment, then picks up, her tone instantly softening.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, sweetheart. Just wanted to check in. How's my favorite daughter doing today?
I'm your only daughter, Dad.
Doesn't make it any less true. So what's new? How's school and everything?
Mia leans back in her chair, taking a sip of her coffee. Her free hand picks absently at her sandwich wrapper as she speaks, her tone casual but guarded.
School's good. Busy as usual. I've got a ton of projects to finish, but I'm managing.
Just managing? What happened to my overachiever?
She's still here, Dad. Just maybe a little tired lately.
Her father's tone shifts slightly, becoming more concerning but still lighthearted.
Tired, huh? You sure you're not pushing yourself too hard? You know you can call me if things get overwhelming, right?
Mia hesitates for a moment. Her mind flashes to the event of the previous night, the alley, the criminal, Nightshade. She takes a deep breath, forcing a smile into her voice.
I know, Dad. I promise I'm fine. Just the usual school stuff.
Her father pauses, as if sensing there's more she's not saying, but instead of pressing, his tone lightens again.
All right, I'll take your word for it. But I do have something that might cheer you up. There's a party tonight at Stone Industries.
Mia's eyes widen slightly at the name. She's heard of the Stone Industries, of course, a tech giant known for advanced AI and innovative technologies, but her knowledge is limited to the name alone.
Stone Industries? Are you serious? How did you manage that?
Let's just say working in law enforcement has its perks. I pulled a favor, and they're letting me bring a guest. I thought you might want to tag along. You've always been into tech and all that.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to see what they're like up close. Are you sure I can come?
Of course. Just be ready by 7, okay? And maybe wear something a little nicer than your usual hoodie.
Okay. But what kind of party is this exactly? Like, is it formal or just casual?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. It's supposed to be a celebration, but it's also Stone Industries, so who knows? I'll be there working as part of the security team, just in case something happens. But you can just enjoy yourself. No need to overthink it.
Wait, so you're working and attending? That's a lot, Dad.
That's the job, sweetheart. Someone has to keep an eye on things. But don't worry about me. You just focus on having fun.
All right, I'll trust you. Thanks for inviting me, Dad. This is really cool.
You're welcome, sweetheart. It'll be good to spend some time together. Just be ready by 7, okay?
See you tonight. Love you.
Love you too, kiddo.
As the call ends, Mia sets her phone down, staring at it for a moment. The idea of visiting Stone Industry fills her with excitement, but the ambiguity of the party lingers in her mind. What kind of celebration would require security, and who is Mr. Stone? With a sigh, she takes another sip of her coffee, deciding to focus on the moment as the spring sunshine pours through the window. The sleek, modern penthouse suite inside Stone Industry is bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. Floor to ceiling windows offer a breathtaking view of the city skyline, while minimalist yet sophisticated decor lines the spacious room. In front of the full-length mirror, Kevin Stone adjusts the cuffs of his sharp, tailored black suit. His tie is neatly knotted, his shoes polished to perfection. Tonight, he isn't Nightshade. Tonight, he is Kevin Stone, billionaire, CEO, and host of one of the most prestigious celebrations in the city. Despite the luxury surrounding him, Kevin's mind is still sharp, still calculating. His reflection stares back at him as he speaks into the hidden AI interface woven seamlessly into his earpiece. Alright, give me the rundown. Is everything set? A soft, familiar chime echoes in his ear before Orikal responds. Everything is in order, Mr. Stone. The contouring, entertainment, and security have all been coordinated to your specification. Your sister guest list has been confirmed, and the VIP section has been prepared as requested. Good. The last thing I need is for Emily to say I'm a terrible host. Given her personality, I suspect she'd say that anyway. Yeah, you're probably right. But at least this time, she won't have an excuse to call me boring. Hard to imagine you being considered boring, Mr. Stone. Then again, she doesn't know what you do in your spare time. Kevin smirks at the subtle reminder of his double life. He steps away from the mirror, heading toward a sleek black leather chair where his phone and watch rest. He fastens the high-end timepiece around his wrist while continuing the conversation. What about security? Everything tightened up? Security is at maximum efficiency. Your personal detail will be the street but present. Additional officer has been assigned due to your father's request. He will be working security tonight, along with several other high-ranking personnel. Kevin's brow raised slightly at that detail. My father requested extra security? That's unlike him. Does he know something I don't? Not necessarily. It seems more like a precaution. This is a high-profile event, and Stone Industry has a reputation to uphold. Given recent activities in the city, extra security is a wise choice. Still, he usually trusts my security team to handle these things without question. Perhaps it would be best if for one night you simply enjoy the party. No secret investigation, No crime fighting, just Kevin Stone, the host, celebrating his sister's achievement. Kevin lets out a soft chuckle, shaking his head as he buttons his suit jacket. You're really pushing this normal life thing, huh? I was designed to ensure efficiency to all areas of your life, including reminding you to be human once in a while. Hmm. Noted. But you and I both know I don't do normal very well. That may be true, but for Emily's sake, I recommend trying. Kevin pauses for a moment, standing at the doorway of his private suite. A small smile plays at the corner of his lips. His sister deserves this night, deserves to have a moment where her older brother isn't distracted by the weight of the city. Tonight, for her, he'll be Kevin Stone. Alright, let's get this party started. As Kevin strides confidently down the hallway, Orikal interface dims, leaving only the echo of their conversation behind. Outside, the grand celebration awaits. The billionaire and the host, and the unbeknownst to the world, the city's silent protector, walking the fine line between the life he was born into and the one he chose. The grand ballroom of Stone Industry is filled with elegance and celebration. A sleek, modern design blends seamlessly with luxurious decor, gold-trimmed chandeliers casting a soft glow over polished marble floors, and a panoramic glass wall offering a stunning view of the city skyline. Lively music hums in the background as guests mingle, enjoying the fine dining and drinks, laughter filling the air. As Kevin Stone steps through the grand entrance, the atmosphere shifts slightly. Many guests steal glances at the billionaire CEO, some admiring, others whispering. He carries himself with ease, his perfectly tailored suit executing confidence, but before he can even scan the room, Emily Stone, his younger sister, suddenly jumps out from the side, grabbing his arm.
Boo!
Kevin visibly tensed for a split second before exhaling sharply, turning toward her as she burst into laughter. You do realize I deal with far scarier things on a daily basis, right?
Like what? The terrifying prospect of stock reports and board meetings.
Kevin smirks, crossing his arms as he looks at her, but his amusement is soon replaced by his admiration. For a moment, he just takes her in, her long, flowing navy blue gown shimmering under the ballroom lights, her hair styled with elegance, executing confidence and grace. Damn, man, look at you. My little sister's not so little anymore.
Do I clean up nice or what?
I don't think nice even covers it. You look stunning. Emily beams at the compliment before Kevin's expression turns slightly teasing. And I hate it.
Oh?
Yeah, because now I have to deal with the fact that you're no longer my baby sister, but this smart, independent young woman ready to take on the world.
And that terrifies you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I liked it better when you were asking me to check your homework and watching cartoons. They both share a laugh before Kevin pulls her in a quick embrace, holding her tightly for a moment. I'm really proud of you, Em. You worked your ass off for this, and you deserve every bit of the celebration.
Thanks, Kev. That means a lot coming from Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect.
Oh, please. You run $1 billion company, throw extravagant parties, and somehow manage to stay ridiculously charming while doing it. If I didn't know better, I'd think you'd had a secret life on the side or something.
Kevin chuckles at the irony of her statement, but he masks it well, shaking his head playfully. A secret life? Me? No way. I barely have time to sleep.
Yeah, always working. You need to loosen up sometimes, big bro.
Kevin just smirks, knowing he could never truly loosen up, not when the city still has its demons lurking in the dark. As the conversation settles, Emily glances around the room before turning back to Kevin, her expression softer.
Seriously, Kev. Thank you. Not just for tonight, but for everything. You've always been there, looking out for me, pushing me to be my best. I know I don't say it enough, but I'm really lucky to have you as my brother.
Kevin's unusual stoic expression melts slightly as he looks at his sister, appreciating the rare, heartfelt moment between them. Without another word, he pulls her in for another hug, tighter this time. You'll always have me, no matter what. Just as they embrace, a voice clears from the entrance. The warm, familiar tone causes Kevin's head to turn slightly before he even sees him.
Hope I'm not interrupting something important.
Kevin and Emily turn to see their father walking toward them, dressed in a dark suit, his badge subtly clipped in his belt, a reminder that while he was attending, he was also here as security. His presence adds another layer to the night, the family now together in a rare moment of unity. Right on time, as always.
Wouldn't miss this for the world.
As the three stand together in the grand ballroom, the celebration continues around them. But Kevin's mind remains ever watchful. Tonight may be a night for family, for Emily. But somewhere in the back of his mind, Nightshade never truly rests. The grand ballroom of Stone Industry hums with celebration as guests mingle, music plays, and glasses clink. The evening is in full swing, but as Kevin Stone stands with his father, the lively atmosphere fades slightly into the background. His sharp eyes glances toward the entrance, where several security personnel are positioned strictly around the perimeter of the venue, more than usual, and he doesn't let that go unnoticed. Adjusting the cuff of his suit, Kevin turns toward his father, his expression neutral, but his tone carrying a hint of curiosity. You brought in extra security? I noticed the increased presence the second I walked in, Carrot explained. His father, Captain Richard Stone, crosses his arms, his expression unreadable. Unlike Kevin, he isn't in an expensive tailor suit. His attire is formal but practical. A dark suit with his police badge subtle clipped in his belt, a reminder that he was always on duty in some way.
It's a high-profile event. The city's wealthiest people are under one roof, and that makes this a potential target. I'd rather be overprepared than deal with a situation later.
You don't trust my security team?
It's not about trust. Your people are good at what they do, but my officers know the city inside and out. They know what threats to look for and how to handle them effectively. I'm not taking any chances.
Kevin exhales through his nose, glancing briefly at the security station and near the entrance. His father was always the curious type, but this felt more than standard precautions. Has there been a credible threat?
Nothing confirmed. Just some recent patterns of criminal activities that makes me worry. I don't want trouble tonight, and I'd rather not wait until it's too late to act.
Kevin studies his father for a moment, sensing there's more to his reasoning, but he doesn't push further. His father has always operated with instinct sharpened by years on the force, and Kevin, both as a businessman and as Nightshade, knows better to ignore gut feelings when it comes to security. Fair enough, just don't let it ruin your night. Emily would hate that.
She's too busy enjoying herself to notice, but I'll try.
Kevin gives a small smirk before shifting the topic slightly. You mentioned you had officers here. Should I know anyone in particular? I'd like to thank them personally for being here. His father nods, already expecting the question.
Yeah, one of my senior guys here tonight, Sergeant Daniel Carters. He's one of my best. He's both attending and overseeing some of my officers working security.
Sergeant Carter. Sounds familiar. You worked with him for a while?
Yeah, good man, reliable. Been on the force for nearly 20 years. I trust him to handle things if anything goes sideways.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, let's.
Kevin glances across the room again, scanning for anyone who might fit the description of Sergeant Carter. He takes a sip from the drink a passing waiter had handed him earlier, letting the conversation settle for a moment before speaking again. I'll make sure to introduce myself. If he's got your trust, that's good enough for me.
He'll appreciate that.
As the two stand there, the celebration around them continues, but Kevin's mind remains sharp. If his father saw the need for extra security, there was something he wasn't saying outright. Even as Kevin Stone, CEO, he couldn't shake the instinct of Nightshade. His father trusted this Sergeant Carter, and Kevin was about to find out if that trust was well placed. As the conversation between Kevin and his father winds down, Captain Richard Stone reaches into his pocket and pulls out his phone to check for any security updates. His brow furrows slightly before he lets out a quiet smirk, shaking his head in disapproval as he watches something on the screen. Kevin, ever observant, noticed immediately. His father wasn't one to smirk unless something truly amused or annoyed him. What's so funny?
Not funny. Just another idiot on the internet talking about that damn vigilante.
Kevin's muscle tensed ever so slightly, his grip around his glass tightening just a fraction. He carefully schools his expression, keeping his tone light and casual. Ah, which one? Captain Stone tilts the phone slightly, showing Kevin the screen. The video shows a live stream from a well-known online personality, one of those amateur urban investigators always chasing ghost stories and conspiracy theories. The streamer is on a rooftop, his camera shaking as he speaks excitedly into the lens. Guys, I swear on my life, I just saw him. Nightshade. He was right there, standing on that rooftop across from me. I got some footage, but it's blurry. I'm telling you, the guy is real, and he's out here. Kevin watches the screen for a moment before glancing back at his father, who scuffs and locks his phone, stuffing it back into his pocket.
Great, just what we need. More idiots hyping up a criminal like he's some kind of hero.
Kevin forces a small chuckle, though inside he feels the presence mounting. He knew his father wasn't Nightshade's biggest fan, but hearing the disdain so openly still threw him off. Trying to stay composed, he takes a sip of his drink before speaking. You really think he's a criminal? His father exhales sharply, turning his gaze toward Kevin, lowering his voice so their conversation stays between them.
No, I know he's a criminal. He takes the law into his own hands, operates outside any real authority, and makes things worse for us. I don't care how many criminals he stops. He's reckless, dangerous, and he has no accountability.
Kevin holds back a sigh, already knowing where this was going. He's had this conversation with his father many times before, but he could never argue back too much without raising suspicion. Still, he had to at least try, for his own conscience if nothing else. But what if he's actually helping? What if he's doing what the police can't always do? You said it yourself, some threats don't always play by the rules. Maybe having someone who isn't restricted by red tape isn't such a bad thing. Captain Stone's jaw tightens, his frustration visibly growing. He looks around briefly to make sure none of the guests are listening before leaning in slightly, lowering his voice even more.
Not this again, Kevin. We've been through this. The law exists for a reason. You don't get to pick and choose who justice works just because you have the strength or resources to do so. That's not heroism, it's vigilantism, and it leads to chaos.
And what if the system isn't enough? What if he's just filling in the gaps? His father exhales harshly, clearly done with this conversation. He rubs his temple before looking Kevin directly in the eyes.
You always do this. Every damn time this topic comes up, you try to defend him, like you actually believe he's some kind of savior. And no matter what I tell you, you never listen.
Maybe because you never considered that you could be wrong about him. A heavy pause lingers between them. The weight of their conflicting views presses into the space, neither wanting to back down, yet neither willing to push far enough to break the delicate balance of their conversation. Kevin watches as his father clenches his jaw, clearly holding back what he really wants to say.
I swear, sometimes I don't get you, Kevin.
Maybe you don't have to. His father exhales sharply again, rubbing the bridge of his nose before standing straighter. He clearly doesn't want to continue this conversation. Instead, he adjusts the cuffs of his suit and steps a small step back.
I'm going to do my walk around. Make sure things are running smoothly.
Kevin nods slightly, watching as his father turns to leave, but before he does, his father speaks one last time, his voice quieter yet heavier than before.
You might not see what I see, Kevin, but one day you will.
And with that, he disappears into the crowd, leaving Kevin standing there, his expression unreadable. He grips his drink a little tighter before exhaling through his nose, adjusting his suit jacket as he forces himself to refocus on the party. Inside, though, his thoughts spin. His father, the man who raised him, the man whose moral had once sharpened his own, hated what he had become, and yet he could never tell him the truth. For now, Kevin Stone remains the perfect billionaire son, but deep down, in the shallows of his mind, Nightshade was listening, and he wasn't about to stop anytime soon. The grand ballroom of Stone Industries is alive with laughter, music, and celebration. The guests are mingling, sipping on fine champagne, and enjoying the luxurious atmosphere. At the center of it all, on the elevated stage with a crystal clear microphone in hand, stands Kevin Stone. The room naturally quiets as he steps forward, commanding attention with effortless charisma. Holding the mic with a casual yet refined stance, he gives the audience a warm smile before speaking. Alright everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. The murmurs settle, and all eyes turn toward him. He lets the silence linger just enough to build anticipation before continuing. Now, as much as I love being the center of attention at every social event I host, tonight is about someone far more important. Someone who, despite all my wisdom, guidance, and constant reminder of how great of a big brother I am, managed to graduate college all on her own. The guests chuckle at his light-hearted joke, and Emily, standing among them, rolls her eyes but smiles warmly. I know, it's shocking. But in all seriousness, everyone, we are here tonight to celebrate my brilliant, determined, and sometimes extremely stubborn little sister, Emily Stone, on her incredible achievement. A round of applause erupts, and Emily shakes her head fondly as Kevin continues. I watched her work her way through late-night study session, endless exams, and way too much coffee. Seriously, I'm concerned for her caffeine intake. To get to this moment, and now she's officially a college graduate, ready to take on the world. Another wave of applause fills the room. Kevin pauses for a minute, his expression softening just slightly before he adds, Emily, I couldn't be prouder of you. You've grown into an incredible woman, and no matter what you choose to do next, I know you're going to be amazing at it. Emily smiles brightly, a little emotional at his word, but before she can get too sentimental, Kevin flashes a playful grin. That said, I am hoping that at some point she'll just realize running Stone Industry is her true destiny, so I can finally retire and spend my days on a yacht somewhere. The audience laugh as Emily shakes her head, crossing her arms.
Keep dreaming, Kev.
Yeah, I figured. Worth a shot, though. More laughter follows before Kevin gestures toward Emily, signaling for her to come up. Now, since I know you love being in the spotlight, why don't you come up here and say a few words? The crowd claps again as Emily walks onto the stage, accepting the microphone from Kevin. He steps back slightly, standing beside her with his usual relaxed confidence as she takes center stage.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you all for coming. This means so much to me, and I'm beyond grateful for my friends, family, and all the amazing people who supported me throughout this journey.
She pauses, glancing at Kevin before smirking slightly.
And yes, even my overprotective, slightly dramatic, but extremely generous big brother. Thank you, Kevin, for always having my back.
The crowd chuckles, and Kevin holds a hand to his chest, feigning offense. Only slightly dramatic. I'm disappointed. Emily laughs before continuing.
As for what's next, I have big plans. I want to make a difference. Push boundaries and find my own path. Whether that's in tech, business, or something else entirely. I plan to leave my mark. And with all of you here, supporting me, I know I can do it.
Another warm round of applause spreads through the ballroom as Emily smiles, thanking everyone again. Kevin watches his sister with admiration, but as she speaks, something, or rather someone, catches his attention near the entrance. His eyes narrow slightly as he spots a familiar face stepping into the ballroom, effortlessly blending in with the crowd. The woman is greeted by other guests, exchanging polite smiles as she moves toward the refreshment, picking up a glass of champagne. Mia. Kevin keeps his expression unreadable, but internally a flicker of curiosity and caution ignites within him. He hadn't expected to see her here tonight. She looks different from when he last saw her. No fear in her eyes, no adrenaline from a life or death situation. Just a young woman attending a prestigious event. But Kevin knew better than to believe in consciousness. He watches as she sips her drink, unaware of his gaze. He wonders, why is she here? As the applause settles and crowd resume their mingling, Emily steps away from the microphone. Her radiant smile unwavering, she turns to Kevin, who is still standing beside her, his attention seamlessly elsewhere. She notices a slight shift in his expression, the way his eyes are subtle, tracking something or someone in the crowd.
What are you looking at?
Kevin quickly straightens, his composed businessman mask slipping back into place. He shakes his head, offering a casual shrug. Nothing. Emily doesn't buy it for a second. She smirks knowingly, glancing briefly in the direction of where Mia stands, completely unaware of the attention she's drawn from Kevin. But instead of pressing him, she just pats his arm lightly.
Right. Nothing. Sure.
She playfully shoves him before stepping back, arm crossed.
Just enjoy the party, Kevin.
With that, she walks off into the crowd, leaving Kevin standing there for a moment. His gaze flickers once more toward Mia, who remains oblivious as she sips her drink and engages in light conversation with other guests. Taking a breath, Kevin makes his way off the stage, smoothly maneuvering through the sea of guests with the intent of approaching Mia. But just as he nears her, his path is unexpectedly blocked by a broad-shouldered figure stepping in front of him. Kevin instinctively stops, his sharp eyes meeting those of Sergeant Daniel Carter, the very man he had been meaning to speak with. Daniel Carter, a man in his early 40s, carries the presence of a seasoned officer, calm, collected, and unaware of everything happening around him. His sharp gaze meets Kevin's, but instead of a formal greeting, he offers a firm nod and an extended hand.
Mr. Stone, I was told you were looking for me.
Kevin blinks once, quickly adapting to the moment before shaking Carter's hand with a firm grip. Sergeant Carter, yes, I was hoping to find you. My father mentioned that you and your team have been overseeing some of the security tonight, and I wanted to personally thank you for that. Carter nods, releasing the handshake, his posture relaxed but professional.
Much appreciated, but I'm just doing my job. Your father insisted on the extra security, and honestly, I think he just likes knowing some of his people are keeping an eye on things.
Sounds like him. The two stand in a brief moment of mutual understanding, before Carter gestures casually toward the lively room around them.
And don't worry, I'm not just here to work. I do intend to enjoy the party as well. I don't usually get to be in places like this, so I figured I might as well take in the atmosphere.
Well, I hope it's up to your standards, Sergeant. We do try to make these events worth the trouble.
I'd say you've done all right.
Kevin studies Carter for a moment. His father has spoken highly of him, and from his demeanor alone, Kevin could tell this was a man who was genuine in his work. But there was also something about him, a presence that demanded respect, not through intimidation, but through experience. A man like Carter knew the city just as well as Nightshade did, perhaps in different ways, but just as deeply. Before Kevin can guide the conversation any further, he senses movement behind Carter. Mia, still completely unaware that Kevin had been on his way to approach her before the sergeant intercepted him. He keeps his expression unreadable, choosing to keep his focus on Carter for now. While I do appreciate the work you and your team are doing, my father trusts you, which says a lot.
Yeah, well, I try not to make it a habit of letting him down. He's a tough one.
That he is.
I have to admit, Kevin, I've always wondered, how do you manage it all? Running Stone Industries, being the face of one of the biggest tech firms in the world, and on top of that, working hands-on with AI development? Most CEOs barely scratch the surface of their own companies, yet you seem to be deeply involved.
Kevin smirks slightly, adjusting his cufflink, always prepared for this kind of question. He leans in slightly, speaking with the effortless confidence he wears like a second skin. Well, let's just say I don't get much sleep. But in all seriousness, I built this company with the belief that innovation needs guidance. AI isn't just a product, it's a revolution. If I sat back and let others handle it without my input, we wouldn't be where we are today. He glances around the ballroom, gesturing slightly as he speaks. Stone Industry is at the forefront of technology, but progress without direction is chaos. That's why I stay involved. Every algorithm, every system we develop, I make sure it aligns with the future I want to create. Sergeant Carter listens intently, nodding with approval.
That's a hell of a mindset. It's rare to see someone at your level actually stay in the trenches of their work. Most men in your position would just let the money flow and enjoy the perks of success.
I like to stay ahead of the curve, Sergeant. If you're not evolving, you're falling behind. Sergeant Carter chuckles at that, before tilting his head slightly in thought.
And what about your father? What was it like stepping into such big shoes? I know Richard isn't the type to see his son fail. How did you prove yourself? And to him?
Kevin hums thoughtfully, placing his hands in his pocket as he considers his answer. My father never made things easy for me. He wanted to make sure I earned my place. It wasn't about being his son. It was about whether I can handle the responsibility that comes with running a company like this. He gave me the opportunity, but I had to prove I could turn potential into results. Carter nods approvingly before Kevin turns the conversation back on him. And what about you, Sergeant? How does one go from a regular officer to one of the most trusted men in the city? My father doesn't just respect anyone, so you must have done something right. Sergeant Carter leans back slightly, chuckling to himself.
Oh, trust me, it wasn't easy. Your father doesn't just hand out promotions. I spent years proving myself, working the hardest beats, taking the toughest cases, making sure I wasn't just another cop in uniform.
He crosses his arms, his gaze thoughtfully as he continued.
I had to make tough calls, push back against corruption, and earn the trust of the force. I wasn't just promoted because of my record, I was promoted because I never backed down from what needed to be done.
Kevin listens carefully, recognizing the same unwavering resolve in Carter that he himself carried every night as Nightshade. Before Carter can continue, however, a voice interrupts them, soft yet clear and familiar.
Here, Dad. Figured you could use a drink.
Sergeant Carter turns slightly to face his daughter, offering a warm smile as he takes the glass from her.
Thanks, kiddo.
But the moment the exchange happens, a silent tension settles in the air. Mia's gaze slowly lifts, and her breath catches as her eyes land on Kevin. A moment of pure shock washes over her face. Kevin, equally stunned, meets her gaze, unable to hide his reaction. His normally well-controlled expression flatters as he recognizes her, not just as the woman from the dance club, but as the same woman he saved last night as Nightshade. A long unspoken pause lingers between them. Mia's mind races, processing the impossible. Kevin Stone, the charming water guy from the club, the man who had caught her attention with his quite confident demeanor, was Mr. Stone, the Kevin Stone, the CEO of Stone Industry. Kevin, on the other hand, isn't just stunned by her presence. He's reeling from the realization that he had saved the daughter of Sergeant Carter. Carter, unaware of the underlying tension between them, looks between the two before raising an eyebrow at his daughter.
Mia, you know Mr. Stone?
Mia hesitates, still caught in the whirlwind of her own thoughts. She knows she has to say something. Anything. Her mind is still trying to make sense of it all. Before she can form a response, Kevin steps in smoothly, regaining his composure in an instant. Yes, we met at her job. Mia's eyes widen slightly, but she quickly catches on, realizing what Kevin is doing. She slowly nods, falling in line with the excuse.
Yeah, that's right. He visited my department at the university.
Sergeant Connor, unaware of the deeper content, nods approvingly.
Well, makes sense. Smart move, Kevin. Looking at the future of IT and computer science to find fresh talent, huh?
Exactly. Stone Industry is always looking for the best minds to bring into the company. Mia solo exhales in relief, grateful for the cover. She couldn't exactly tell her father the truth, that she had met Kevin at a nightclub, and that last night she had almost been mugged only to be rescued by a masked vigilante who turned out to be standing right in front of her. The weight of that knowledge lingers between them, unspoken yet undeniable.
Well, I'll leave you two to talk. I need to do another security round. Enjoy yourselves.
Carter pats Kevin's shoulder before stepping away, leaving Kevin and Mia alone, still locked in a silent storm of realization. Mia finally speaks, her voice just above a whisper, laced with disbelief.
It's you.
Kevin recovers his unusual composure, gives her a knowing smirk. Didn't expect to see me here, did you?
When were you going to tell me you were the CEO of Stone Industries?
Before Kevin can even begin to respond, Mia launches into a rapid-fire barrage of questions.
Seriously, Kevin, how did I never notice?
You're the head honcho of one of the biggest companies in the world. And what about all those fancy meetings and secret projects? How do you even find the time? And why did you hide it all? What are the odds we meet at a party like this instead of, I don't know, meeting at a dance club yesterday?
Kevin takes a deep breath, clearly caught off guard by her relentless questioning. He hesitates for a moment before finally replying, his tone soft and slightly rueful. I know, I should have mentioned it, but I never wanted people to see me as just a CEO, the rich guy or the face of a big corporation. I wanted them to see me as just me. I've been trying to go out and do what normal people do, you know? Mia's eyes soften as she studies him. It makes of curiosity and genuine warmth in her gaze. For a moment, the noise of the party seems to fade, leaving just the two of them in a quiet bubble.
And what are the odds we meet at a party? Not like we met at that crazy dance club last night.
Kevin's expression wavers between amusement and trace of regret as he nods slowly. Yeah, I guess sometimes fate has a funny way of bringing people together in the most unexpected places. They share a quiet laugh, the earlier tension easing into a comfortable silence. After a moment, Mia's curiosity shifts to his knowledge about her.
Okay, now I've got to ask. How did you know about my work life? How did you even know where I worked?
Kevin shrugs lightly, a playful glimmer in his eyes. A guess? They both laugh softly, the sound mingling with the soft music in the background. In that moment, despite the complexity and secrets they both carry, they're an undeniable connection. A spark of honesty and vulnerability that promise more than just a chance encounter. In a quieter corner of the grand ballroom, away from the general hustle of the party, Kevin and Mia find a moment of privacy. The soft hum of music and laughter forms a gentle backdrop as they stand closer together. Mia's gaze is steady and serious as she meets Kevin's eyes.
Yeah, okay.
Kevin hesitates, his eyes flickering with a mix of amusement and a trace of guilt. He leans in slightly and, with an honest tone, confesses. Alright, I'll come clean. I may have looked you up in my spare time. Mia raises an eyebrow, a teasing smile playing at the corner of her lips as she gently prods him further.
Did you miss me that much?
Kevin chuckles, shaking his head as he replies with a hint of playfulness in his tone. Well, I never really asked for your number. How else am I going to cash that rain check I promised last night? Mia's playful retort seems to hang in the air as she slowly steps closer. She reaches out and rests her hand gently on his, her touch warm and reassuring. In that quiet, intimate moment, as they lock eyes, Mia feels a profound sense of safety. In Kevin's gaze, she finds a calm strength, a quiet promise of protection, an understanding that makes her forget, if only for a moment, the uncertainty of the night before. After a long, comfortable silence, Mia's smile returns, soft and genuine, and she breaks the quiet with a curious question.
So what's the occasion for the party tonight?
Kevin glances around the lavish decor and then responds with a light chuckle. It's a celebration for my sister, Emily, her graduation from college. I thought it'd be a nice change of pace, a chance to celebrate her achievement, and, well, to remind everyone that even a busy CEO can throw a memorable party. At that, Kevin slowly gestured towards the far side of the room where Emily stands. Radiant in her elegant gown, Mia's eyes widen in surprise as she takes in the sight.
Wow, she's beautiful. And congrats to her, too. I didn't know you had a sister.
Kevin's expression softens as a wistful smile crosses his face. For a split second, his mind drifts to the night before, the memory of saving her life, the overwhelming surge of emotions, and the thought of all those what ifs. His eyes briefly betray a flicker of regret and determination before he refocuses on the conversation. Shaking off the reverie, Mia speaks up quickly, her tone light yet instant.
But seriously, what else am I missing about you, Kevin? There's so much I don't know.
Kevin meets her gaze. His smile turns a shade more sincere as he brings to share a piece of his life he rarely reveals. Well, for starters, my dad, he's not just any man. He's the captain of the police force. In fact, the same force your dad works for. It's funny, sometimes I get asked if I related to him. I always say, why else do we have the same last name? Mia laughs. A playful glint in her eyes as she teases him.
Oh, fuck you. Just a moment ago, I didn't even know your last name. And honestly, people with the same last name don't mean much.
Kevin laughs, a warm, kind sound that mingles with the distant notes of music. His eyes crinkle at the corner as he enjoys her teasing banter. Well, maybe it doesn't mean much to you, but to me, it means a lot. Family is everything. Mia's expression softens further, and she squeezes his hand gently. The intimacy of the moment makes her feel secure, as though in his eyes she finds not only recognition but also acceptance. For a moment, the world around them seems to pause. The lively party reduced to a soft blur as they share this personal exchange. After a lingering silence filled with mutual understanding, Kevin finally speaks again, his voice quiet and heartfelt. I'm really glad to see you again, Mia. His words hang between them, sincere and unguarded. In that moment, despite the weight of secrets and the chaos of their separate lives, two souls find solace in each other's presence, an unexpected union that feels like both a beginning and a continuation of a story that was already meant to unfold. The party roars softly around them, but in their shared space, only truth and the promise of connection matters. Just as the connection between them deepens, a subtle deep echo in Kevin's hidden earpiece. Mr. Stone, an unidentified individual has just entered your office. Kevin's smile falters for a split second as he processes the message. He glances down, his eyes momentarily reflecting a mix of concern and determination. Not again. He shifts his attention back to Mia, who is mid-sentence. Her eyes are aligned with curiosity. Kevin forces a calm smile, though his mind races with the implication of the new development. Hey Mia, I'm really sorry to cut our conversation short, but something come up that I need to check on. I try to be quick, okay? I definitely don't want to miss the rest of the party or your company. Mia's smile wavers for a moment as she senses the change in his tone. She studies his eyes, which flickers with unspoken urgency, before nodding slowly.
All right, Kevin. Just be safe, okay?
Kevin gives her a reassuring nod, though his own worry lingers. With a final apologetic smile, he steps away from the conversation. As he makes his way through the lively crowd, his gaze briefly meets that of his sister, Emily, who is engaged in conversation with other guests near the ballroom entrance. Emily's smile fades into a worried frown as she watches Kevin abrupt exit. She exchanged a brief perplexed glance with a nearby guest before turning her attention back to her conversation, her mind clearly troubled by his sudden departure. Meanwhile, Kevin navigates through the throng with measured steps, his thoughts consumed by the potential threat now lurking in his office. The festive atmosphere continues unabated in the ballroom, but for Kevin, the weight of responsibility presses in as he slips away to investigate the intrusion. In that fleeting moment, The promise of a joyful evening is momentarily eclipsed by a tension of unseen dangers, and a reminder that, for Kevin Stone, there's always work waiting in the shadows. Kevin strides purposely through the party, the hum of conversation and clinking glasses fading into the background as he heads down a quiet corridor toward his private office. His earpiece, still connected to Orikal, hums softly with the digital presence. Mr. Stone, I'm still tracking the situation. It appears someone has entered your office. Kevin's footstep echoes on the polished floor as he speaks in a measured tone, determined to maintain his composure. Yeah, Orikal, I'm on my way. I'm not about to let a potential intruder disrupt the party, or my plans. As he walks, the tension eases slightly, replaced by a familiar cadence of routine. Kevin shifts the conversation to distract him from the worst-case scenario. You know, tonight's been full of surprises. I never expected a surprise guest like Mia to show up here. It's almost like the universe wanted to keep me on my toes. Orikal's tone shifts to one of amused surprise. Mia? I wasn't aware she was even on the guest list. This is unexpected. Kevin chuckles softly, his mind briefly replaying the event of the night. Well, let me explain. I started with my father insisting on extra security. He didn't trust my regular team. Then I got introduced to Sergeant Daniel Carter, who was overseeing security. And guess what? I eventually discovered that Carter's daughter is none other than Mia, the very woman I saved last night. Orikal processes the information, a hint of digital astonishment in his voice. Oh my. There's a brief pause before Orikal adds with a touch of humor, lightening the mood. Is this what you call living like a normal person, Mr. Stone? Saving damsels, running a billion-dollar empire, and now rubbing shoulders with an unexpected party guest? Kevin laughs quietly, shaking his head as he continues down the corridor. The mix of high-stakes business and personal entanglement has always been his paradox, but tonight it feels almost surreal. You know, Orikal, I sometimes wonder if I should just quit the secret life and settle for normal. But then again, where's the fun in that? The banner serves as a welcome distraction as they near his office. The polished oak door comes into view. Kevin slows his pace, steering himself for what or who might be waiting inside. Let's see who the fuck this guy is. With that final determined statement, Kevin pauses, hand hovering over the door handle. The conversation with Orikal fades into the background as he prepares to face whatever awaits behind the door, while the party and all its surprises continue to swirl just beyond the corridor. Kevin pushes open the heavy oak door to his office, stepping inside with a quiet confidence. The dim lighting casts long shadows against the polished floor, and the faint scent of whiskey already lingers in the air. His sharp gaze immediately locks into the figure standing near the far wall. A man, hands in his pockets, admiring the array of awards, framed magazine covers, and business accolades that line Kevin's office. The man doesn't turn, doesn't acknowledge Kevin's entrance, only studies the evidence of Kevin Stone's success like he's analyzing an elaborate painting, one he doesn't particularly admire. Kevin closes the door behind him, his movement slow, calculated. His voice, however, remains effortlessly smooth, carrying just a hint of amusement. You lost? The party room's the other way. Still no response, the man remains fixed on the display of Kevin's achievement, his posture relaxed but deliberate. Kevin watches him carefully, his sharp instinct picking up the subtle lack of respect in the way the man carries himself. Then finally, the man moves, but not to acknowledge Kevin. Instead, he strides over to the side of the office where a sleek whiskey decanter sits on a small bar cart. Without hesitation, he pours himself a glass, swirling the amber liquid before taking a slow sip. Only then does he speak, his voice low and even, carrying an edge that isn't outright hostile, but certainly isn't friendly.
Must be nice, having your entire legacy displayed for the world to admire.
Kevin's smirk barely flatters, but there's an unmistakable tension in the room now, and tension of unspoken history, unspoken disdain. He takes a slow step forward, slipping his hand into his pocket as he watches the man carefully. Can't say I've seen you at many of my parties before. Didn't peg you as someone who enjoys celebrating my success. The man chuckles under his breath, finally turning slightly to glance at Kevin. His eyes are sharp, unreadable, not impressed in the slightest.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't waste my time celebrating you.
Kevin lets out a quiet chuckle, shaking his head slightly as he moves towards the bar cart. He reaches for a second glass, pouring his own drink, never breaking eye contact with the man as he takes a slow sip. Now that hurts. And here I thought I was everyone's favorite billionaire. The man exhales a small laugh, taking another sip of his whiskey before setting the glass down with a soft clink on Kevin's desk. He steps closer, his gaze unwavering.
You and I both know that's far from the truth.
Kevin doesn't flinch, doesn't react beyond a slight knowing tilt of his head. He's fully aware that this man doesn't like him, and the feeling is mutual, but tonight isn't about threats. It's about something else, something unspoken between them that neither of them wants to outright acknowledge just yet. Then why are you here? A beat of silence stretches between them, heavy yet controlled. The man lets the question linger, as if considering whether or not Kevin even deserves an answer.
Just wanted to see for myself if the great Kevin Stone was as impressive in person as the world seems to think.
Kevin exhales sharply through his nose, not laughing, but amused in his own way. He sets his whiskey glass down beside the man's, stepping just a little closer. And what's the verdict? The man doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he studies Kevin carefully, his expression giving away nothing. Then he picks up his glass, downs the rest of his whiskey in one smooth motion, and sets it down with a final, decisive clink.
Still deciding.
Kevin watches as the man Elliot Graves lingers, his fingers still resting lightly against the glass of whiskey on Kevin's desk. The air between them remains thick with tension. Both men fully aware that this conversation isn't one for pleasantries. Graves finally turns, locking eyes with Kevin, stepping forward with a slow, deliberate movement. He doesn't stop until he's close, too close. Now, their faces are inches apart, their eyes locked in an unspoken battle of dominance. Kevin doesn't move, doesn't flinch, but he can feel the intent radiation of Graves like a slow-burning fire. The man's voice remains calm, too calm, eerily composed.
You put on quite the show, Kevin. The billionaire, the genius, the untouchable mogul with the perfect reputation.
He tilts his head slightly, studying Kevin's face as if searching for something deeper beneath the surface.
But I know the truth. I know who you really are, what you do when the city sleeps, what you feel in those moments of fear when the mask is on and you tell yourself you're in control.
Kevin's jaw tightens slightly, but his expression remains carefully neutral. He exhales slowly through his nose, his voice steady, but his mind racing beneath the surface. That's a lot of assumption. You sure you don't need another drink? Elliot lets out a quiet chuckle, shaking his head as he takes a step back. But just as Kevin thinks the moment is over, Graves leans in slightly, his lips curling into a smirk.
It's nice to finally meet you, Nightshade.
The second the words leave his mouth, Graves moves swiftly. A gun slides effortlessly from beneath his suit jacket, pressed firmly against Kevin's stomach. A small, sleek pistol, silent, deadly, ready. Kevin's muscle tense, his mind processing every possible next move. The gun is too close for him to disarm immediately, and any sudden movement could result in an explosive mess. Instead, he stays still, eyes locked with Graves, unshaken but now fully engaged. You got my attention.
Good. That means we can finally have an honest conversation.
Kevin lets a slow breath pass through his lips, his stance unchanged, his body intensively mapping out escape routes, counter moves. But right now, there's one thing he needs to know. What's your name? Graves grins slightly, as if enjoying the fact that Kevin is even asking.
Elliot Graves. Remember it.
Kevin holds his gaze, unblinking. Oh, I will. The two men remain in their silent standoff, both refusing to back down. Neither wants to escalate here, not now, at a public event, at Emily's celebration. But the weight of promises left unspoken fills the space between them. The next time we meet, it won't end well for you. Elliot chuckles softly. His smirk deepens as he presses the gun just slightly more into Kevin's stomach. Not enough to fire, but enough to remind him who has the upper hand.
You're cute when you're confident. But let me make something very clear, Kevin. I will make you suffer in ways no man can bear. And when the time comes, I won't just defeat Nightshade.
He leans in, voice dropping to a whisper.
I'm going to kill him.
The words land like a blade pressed against Kevin's throat, but before he can respond, the office door swings open. Both men react instantly. Elliot withdraws the guns in one fluid motion, smoothly slipping it back into his jacket as if it had never been there. Kevin doesn't move, his expression perfectly unreadable as his sister, Emily, steps into the room.
Kevin, what's going on?
Her eyes dart between the two men, sensing something off. Though unable to place what, Kevin quickly shifts, his expression relaxing into something far more neutral, casual, years of practice hiding what truly lurks beneath the surface. Nothing, just business talk. Emily doesn't seem convinced, but before she can press further, Elliot turns to her with a charming, effortless smile. The kind of smile that disarms, that deceives. He extends his hand toward her.
Emily, isn't it? I've heard a lot about you. Congratulations on your graduation.
Emily hesitates for a moment before shaking his hand politely, still uncertain about the tension she just walked into.
Thank you. And you are?
Elliot flashes her an easygoing grin, nodding slightly.
Just a guest, a friend of a friend. But I hope we can see each other again.
Kevin clenches his jaw subtly, his calm mask unshaken, but inside, his blood boils at Elliot's audacity. The man knows exactly what he's doing. Elliot releases her hand, turning back toward the door as if nothing had just transpired. Before he steps out, he glances over his shoulder, catching Kevin's eyes one last time. A slow, deliberate wink follows.
I hope we can meet again, Mr. Stone.
And with that, he's gone, disappearing back into the party as if he hadn't just pulled a gun on the host. Kevin stands there for a long moment, jaw tight, fingers itching with the need to act. But not here, not yet. Emily studies him, her concern growing.
Kev, who was that?
Kevin exhales slowly, forcing himself to relax, not to let it show. he turns to her with a small, reassuring smile. The same one he gives her since they were kids. The one meant to calm her when things got too complicated. Like I said, just business. But as Emily studies his face, she knows there's more to it, and Kevin knows this is just the beginning. As the tension lingers in the air, Kevin rolls his shoulder and exhales, masking the unease still shimmering beneath the calm exterior. Emily watches him carefully, her concern evident, but before she can say anything, Kevin's earpiece come alive with a familiar voice, one he was expecting. Mr. Stone, I've completed a full scan of the building. No additional uninvited guests detected. Security remains intact. Kevin lets out a subtle sigh of relief, adjusting his suit jacket as if shaking off the weight of what just transpired. And Graves? Gone. He left the premises 2 minutes ago. No sign of lingering surveillance or remote threats. For now, the building is secure. Kevin leans against his desk, rubbing the bridge of his nose, his mind running over the encounter in his head. Then the real question dawns on him, the one that makes his stomach tighten slightly. Then how the fuck did Elliot Graves know who I am? A pause from Orikal, as if even the AI is calculating an answer that it doesn't have. Unknown. His knowledge of your identity is concerning, especially given the security of your operation. No direct leaks have been detected in your digital records. No cyber intrusion linked to him or any known associates. That still doesn't explain how he got into my damn office. My security isn't that easy to crack. Which means one of two possibilities. He's smarter than we anticipated, or he has inside help. Kevin exhales sharply, his fingers tapping rhythmically against the desk as he processes the implication. If Graves has connection inside Stone Industry or within his security network, that means Kevin has more problems than he originally thought. So what? He just waltzed past my security and left me a damn warning? He's playing a game, and I don't like being someone's entertainment. Neither do I, but for now, your cover remains intact. No immediate threats have surfaced from this encounter. He pulled a gun on me, Orikal. That's not an encounter. That's a declaration. Before Orikal can respond, Emily suddenly interrupts the one-side conversation.
Okay, what's going on? And don't even try to say nothing, because you never talk to yourself like that unless something's up.
Kevin quickly composed himself, shifting slightly to ensure that she doesn't see his earpiece. He turns to face her with a practiced smile, though Emily doesn't buy it for a second. It's nothing, Em. Just work stress. You know how it is, pressure of being Mr. Perfect and all that. Emily doesn't laugh. She narrows her eyes at him, stepping closer.
Kev, you and I? We've never kept secrets from each other. Ever. So why do I feel like you're keeping something from me now?
Kevin hesitates. He hates lying to her, hates the fact that this is one of the things he can't share with her. But what other choices does he have? If Emily knew the truth, she'd be in danger. Elliot Graves have already proven that. So, he does what he always done when people he loves gets too close to the truth. He protects them with a lie. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to worry you. There's been a lot on my plate lately. The media, the company, the constant pressure to be this flawless CEO. It's getting exhausting. And tonight, I just wanted to focus on celebrating you. Emily's expression softens slightly, though a small trace of doubt lingers. But Kevin doesn't stop there. He knows she needs something more, something real to hold into. And to make it up for you, I have a surprise planned. Something special just for you, to show you how proud I am for you for graduating. Emily raises an eyebrow, her lips curving into a playful smirk, sensing the shift in the mood.
A surprise. You do realize the last surprise you gave me was dragging me to a conference full of old dudes talking about, stocks, right?
First of all, that was educational. Second, I promise, this one doesn't involve men in overpriced suit talking about market trends. Emily squints at him for a moment, then finally lets out a light laugh, shaking her head.
All right, fine. I'll let you off the hook. For now. But if this surprise sucks, I'm never letting you live it down.
Kevin chuckles, relief washing over him as he gently places his hand on her shoulder. Deal. With the mood lightened, Emily finally nods toward the door.
Come on. Let's get back to the party before people start thinking you abandoned your own event. Come on. Let's get back to the party before people start thinking you abandoned your own event.
Kevin nods, his unusual confidence slipping back into place as they move toward the door. But just as he reaches for the handle, Orikal's voice hums in his earpiece one last time. A final warning. You can't keep lying to her, Kevin. You're putting her at risk. Kevin pauses for a briefest moment, his fingers tightening slightly on the door handle. He doesn't turn, doesn't acknowledge the truth in Orikal's words. Instead, he responds the only way he knows how. So is telling her the truth. And with that, he pushes open the door, returning to the world that knows him as Kevin Stone, CEO, billionaire, brother. But beneath the surface, in the shadows, another name lingers, Nightshade, and his war is far from over. The grand ballroom of Stone Industry is now slowly emptying, the sound of celebration fading into the quiet hum of farewells and last conversations. The soft glow of chandeliers reflects off the polished floor as guests make their way out of the building. A few linger behind, exchanging final hugs and words of congratulations with Emily, who stands near the entrance, beaming as she says her last goodbyes to friends and well-wishers. Across the room, Kevin finds himself once again with Mia, the energy between them far calmer than before. The tension of the night has settled into something unspoken but tangible, something neither of them are in a rush to define just yet. I just wanted to say thank you for being here tonight. It means a lot. Mia tilts her head slightly, studying him before offering a small chuckle.
Wouldn't have shown up if my dad didn't invite me, honestly. But then I thought, why not meet the infamous Mr. Stone? I heard he was pretty handsome.
Kevin chuckles, shaking his head as he plays along. Yeah? Well, I'd like to have a little word with this Mr. Stone fella. Mia burst into laughter, playfully pushing Kevin's shoulder, shaking her head at his antics.
It's funny, though. As much as I've always been interested in Mr. Stone, his work, and getting to see Stone Industries from the inside, I think I'm more interested in Kevin himself.
Kevin pauses at her words, his playful smirk fading into something softer, more genuine. The sincerity in her voice makes him smile, and seeing his smile makes Mia smile too. A comfortable silence falls between them as they both turn their gaze toward the massive windows, looking out at the breathtaking city skyline. The lights of the city stretch endlessly, shimmering under the deep night sky. Mia leans on the railing, resting her arm as she gazes at the view. Kevin standing beside her, instinctively placing his hand onto hers. Their finger brush lightly, a small touch that neither of them pulls away from. There's no rush, no need to fill the silence. Just a moment between them, quiet and beautiful. As they stand inches apart, their eyes slowly meet again, the space between them shrinking. They both know what's about to happen, a kiss. But just as their lips are about to meet, a firm hand lands on Kevin's shoulder, interrupting the moment.
Looks like you two are getting along well. It's almost like you're best friends.
Mia quickly straightens, laughing nervously, while Kevin shifts his stance, clearing his throat. The tension from earlier is replaced with something lighter, more amusing as Kevin and Mia exchange a knowing look. Well, sir, I say she's tolerating me more than anything.
Don't push it.
Good to know. I'd hate to hear my daughter had terrible taste in company.
Mia groans, rolling her eyes, while Kevin chuckles. Daniel, however, isn't done talking. His expression softens, and his voice carries a deeper weight as he turns toward Kevin.
You know, Kevin, Mia's my world. My only daughter. I'd do anything to protect her.
Mia groans again, clearly embarrassed.
Oh, Dad, seriously? It's bad enough you told him every childhood story I wanted to forget.
Daniel only grins at her reaction.
I do it because I love you, Pumpkin.
Kevin raises an eyebrow, his smirk growing as he repeats the nickname. Pumpkin? Now that's cute. Mia shoots Kevin a glare, but she's smiling despite herself.
I swear, you two are getting along way too well.
Daniel chuckles and glances at his watch before turning back to Mia.
We're heading out in 5 minutes. Wrap it up.
Mia nods, and as Daniel walks away, she and Kevin share a brief silence, letting the weight of the moment settle again. Mia then reaches for Kevin's hand, pulling him slightly closer. Kevin lets her, his breath pinching slightly as an unexpected touch as she looks up at him with sincerity.
Kevin, hear me out.
Kevin nods, waiting for her to continue.
I think you're sweet and kind, but I actually want to know you. Not just Kevin Stone, not just the CEO. I want to know what's in here.
Mia gently taps his temple.
And what's in here?
Mia places her hand over Kevin's heart. His heart beats steadily beneath her fingertips, but there's a brief pause, like it skipped a beat. Kevin doesn't move, doesn't pull away. Instead, he lets himself sink into the moment as Mia slowly wraps her arm around him in a gentle, lingering hug. Kevin returns to embrace, resting his chin lightly on top of her head. They stayed that way for a while, neither of them rushing to pull away. Eventually, Mia separates just slightly. Her face inches from his, and before Kevin can say anything, she kisses his cheek. A soft, lingering kiss. As she does, she discreetly slips a piece of paper into his suit jacket pocket, her lips brushing against his ear as she whispers,
I'll see you around.
Kevin is completely speechless as Mia pulls away and walks towards her father. She doesn't look back, but her smile says everything. Stands there for a long moment, his mind blank, his body still warm from her touch. His finger instinctively reached for his suit pocket, pulling out the small paper. His eyes flick down, Mia's phone number. Just as Kevin processes everything that just happened, Emily appears beside him, grinning knowingly.
I saw that. It seems like someone's falling in love.
Kevin, still staring at the number, finally lets out a breath, shaking his head with a small smile. Yeah, I guess you can say that. Emily laughs, nudging him lightly as Kevin pockets the number, a new kind of excitement thrumming in his chest. For once, not as Nightshade, not as Kevin's CEO, but just as Kevin. Inside the dim, humming walls of Kevin Stone's hidden hideout, the room is illuminated only by the glow of blue monitors and the subtle pulsing lights of the AI service. Kevin sits silently at his central command station, his eyes on the screen, but mind elsewhere. The monitors show camera feeds from various areas of the city, street corners, rooftop, alleys, but Kevin isn't seeing them, not really. His vision begins to blur, pupils slightly dilating, as his breath grows shallow. A fragment memory drifts forward. His hand tightens on armrests of his chair as he blinks rapidly, grounding himself. Across the room, Orikal, his AI companion, observes silently, its holographic form hovering near the diagnostic table, its shifting glow revealing a note of concern. You drifted again, for exactly 47 seconds. Not standard behavior for you, Mr. Stone. Kevin wipes his face with one hand, regaining his composure, then narrows his eyes toward the AI's flickering form. Were you scanning me? I monitored your vitals, a safety precaution, nothing invasive. Yep, but your neural patterns were irregular. Again. Kevin stands, turning away from the monitor. His face sharpens, not angry, but worry. You know how I feel about being scanned, Orikal. That wasn't part of your protocol when I created you. And I always wondered why. You built me to learn, adapt, to understand you. But you never once allowed me to know you completely. Not then, not now. Kevin turns his back again, walking toward the armory as he speaks, his voice distant, as if still trapped in the haze of that memory. Because I didn't want you to know who I was. I wanted you to know who I am, here, now. Not whatever's locked away in my head that I haven't figured out yet. A pause, a quiet moment filled the heavy, humming tension. Then, very well, as you wish, Mr. Stone. The AI's tone drops ever so slightly, laced with a flicker of what can only be described as disappointment, concern, a trace of sadness in the cyanic voice. Kevin turns slightly, sensing it. An alarm blares through the hideout, the monitor lights shifting to red. Kevin and Orikal both snap to attention. Kevin immediately steps back to the central terminal. Alert triggered. Remote sensors sweep flag suspicious activity. Multiple camera feeds flicker onto the screen. One shows a shadowy warehouse, tucked far away into the industrial outskirts of the city, practically buried beyond police range. That's off-grid. How the hell did we get a ping out there? The signal came from within, a hidden device, possibly a laptop, accessing minimal data now. A few lines of code flash across the screen. GPS data. Basic wireless output, but no clear function. A laptop triggered this? Correct, but not just any laptop. It's broadcasting an encrypted signature I can't fully trace. That alone is suspicious. What's so damn important about a random laptop? I don't know yet, but I do know that the warehouse is being guarded heavily. Multiple heat signatures, armed, inside and out. That's a lot of muscle for a laptop. Exactly. It wouldn't hurt to check out, but given the patrols and tight security, I recommend going in silent. Minimize contact. No unnecessary mayhem. Agreed. Silent it is. Kevin strives toward the armory. His steps echo through the chamber. Racks of weapon-lined walls. Guns, blades, utility tools, custom tech. Let's see what's still in play. Most options are restricted. Your shock gauntlets are still charging. The stealth drone is offline. Suppressed rifle is being recalibrated. Mobility gear is available, but glider is unstable above 70 feet. Options are thinning fast. Then Kevin's eyes darts toward a corner of the armory, an area he rarely goes to. A wall panel with no visible seams. He approaches it, placing his palm against the cold metal. A faint blue scan flickers across his hand, and the panel slides open with a hiss. Inside rests a singular weapon, a matte black composite bow, sleek, silent, deadly. Its limbs glow faintly with embedded tech. This bow hasn't seen daylight in years. Orikal, observing from across the room, speaks softly, as if understanding what this means. The target is a warehouse, likely coordinated. Stealth is advised. Precision required. Kevin doesn't look back. He steps forward, and takes the bow into his hand slowly. Reverently, he runs in his fingers along the grip, his eyes heavy with memory. You want it silent, right? Yes, Mr. Stone. Kevin's back remained turned, his silhouette cast in sharp contrast against the glowing wall. He lifts the bow slightly, almost presenting it to Orikal, not for show, but out of respect. Then, with a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth, he answers, I can do that just fine. He draws an arrow slowly, inspecting the shaft. A new type, carbonized tip, high velocity tension. He grips it with confidence, then slings the bow over his shoulder. These bastards won't see me coming. As he walks toward the exit, the lights of the hideout shifts from red to deep blue. Nightshade is officially back in play.